Howdy, everybody. Huckleberry here for another installment of Last One to Katahdin Wins. We're going to talk about logistics for all you folks that plan to through hike the Appalachian Trail, even though you're old enough to know better. Logistics for the Appalachian Trail. Well, the first thing to know about hiking the Appalachian Trail is that the logistics are flat out easy because there are so many opportunities for resupply and to take care of all the things you want to take care of from time to time. And the fact that the trail goes right through some towns, that it's sometimes there are hostels or hotels just a matter of feet off the trail, that sometimes there are hot dog stands on the trail. Means that you don't have to plan ahead that much. I mean, you can plan ahead as much as you want. A lot of people will actually ship to themselves packages with their food and new equipment, all kinds of things. They'll plan that ahead of time. They'll have dozens of boxes all packed up with the food they need. This is a good idea if you have special food needs, especially. But I did not. And I knew from the research I did that you can actually get away with just heading out with your pack on your back and a couple of days of food and get off the trail, get more food as needed. It takes a little planning actually, but not a whole lot more than that. You can plan from day to day, maybe just a few days ahead, and take care of things just at stores along the trail. If you want to do package boxes, there is a booklet from the ATC that'll help with you with that, the Appalachian Through Hiker Planner. Get that book, even if you don't think you're going to mail packages to yourself. It's got all kinds of information in it that will make you feel more secure. If this video hasn't done enough for that, make you feel more secure in your plan to go ahead and hike the Appalachian Trail. A bounce box is box that you mail ahead, so you get it on the trail. You don't need it yet, so you just right away relabel it and mail it ahead to another place. You can pick it up. By the way, it's not just post offices you can mail to. You can also mail to a lot of hostels and even hotels, like little country stores and stuff. A lot of times they'll charge you for that, like $5. It won't be a lot, but enough to make sure you go and you're serious about what you're doing. So what about groceries? Well, they're just grocery stores, and you can walk into them. There are better ones than others. Little stores will be more expensive. I spent from $10 to $20 a day for food, for my camp food, depending on whether I was at a big store like a Walmart Supercenter or a little store like the rip-off store at the NOC, the Nantahala Outdoor Center, was terribly expensive. They did make it obvious. You didn't have a choice anyway, but it was terrible. And but still not so bad. Cheaper than eating in town, I'll tell you that. You're going to want to shower. You're going to want to do laundry. You're going to want to charge things. These are things that you're going to want to do in town and every so often. For me, my electronic setup was good for easily for one whole week. So I didn't have to stop more often than that. But I didn't want to carry more than 5 days worth of food because my food weighed about 2 pounds per day. So 10 pounds when I walked out of town, 10 to 12 pounds of food when I left town was heavy. It made my pack weigh close to 40 pounds. I'm sorry, 32, 34 pounds maybe. That's way too much. Believe it or not, that's way too much. So I only had to go 5 days. And so my charging setup was good enough for that. I had a battery block that helped. So how do you plan what to do ahead of time or while you're on the trail especially? And there's a phone app called Far Out for that. And that's what most people use. It just works really, really well. It's economical and super, super effective. It's updated in real time. People hiking ahead of you can leave comments. There's a guy named Money Stash that in New York State, when there was a drought, every day he would post where there was water and where there wasn't. And everybody blessed his little heart all the time. I heard so many people comment how useful that was. So the Far Out app on the phone means you got to figure out a phone. If you're not a phone person, you got to figure that out. I found that iPhone worked great. And I got a fairly new iPhone about halfway through. And mostly because the battery was a lot better than my almost 2-year-old phone. Get yourself a decent phone. It's better investment actually than a Garmin, if you ask me. I carried the AWOL guidebook, but I didn't use it, so I stopped carrying it after the halfway point. And let me tell you, other hikers are super helpful. So you can plan that way too. If you think you're got a need for food or something, ask them. Say, is there a food place coming up? Where are you stopping to resupply? And you'll find out there's this great hostel. I found this out all the time because I wasn't clever enough maybe to dig through the resources to find out what there's a great hostel coming. And so ask other hikers all the time about that. For navigation, there are maps, and I loved it when somebody had a map because I like maps, but they're big and bulky. They're actually hard to navigate on the trail. Getting wet's a problem. You need a lot of them to do the whole trail. So I used the Far Out app. It used to be called Gut Hook. And like I said, I carried the AWOL guidebook, but I gradually just didn't use it. So for navigation, the app is great because you can just open it up, take a look, and it shows where you are on the trail, like right there. You don't see a lot of trail at one time, which kind of sucks. But the part you're on, you see that really well with a lot of precision. And my friends, there are white blazes. There's white paint on the trees. They're super reliable. It isn't exactly true that you can always see one in front of you or behind you, but it usually is true. If you don't see one ahead, you look behind you and there's one behind you. And they're super reliable. If you don't see a blaze, just walk a little bit more. And if you still don't see a blaze, you check your app, see if you're off the trail. It does happen. I ran into people that just walked off the trail because sometimes not trail looks a lot like trail. I would often worry when I was on a really good piece of trail. I think, well, this can't be the Appalachian Trail. It's much too nice. Well, the white blazes, folks, they really are there. It's the truth. And they're super reliable. So there you have it. What about transportation? Well, I would tell you, you are going to hitchhike. Now, maybe you never hitchhiked before. Maybe you really are an old timer. And that's not your thing, though. People my age usually hitchhiked when they were in their 20s. I hitchhiked tens of thousands of miles when I was young. But if people don't do it now, it's super reliable on the Appalachian Trail. It's super safe. If you're a male, it's super safe. If you're a female, women worry a lot. But I never ran into a woman that had a problem. You don't have to hitchhike alone. Find somebody to go into town with. There's also shuttle services. And you can get a shuttle by calling on your phone. Well, phone service sometimes doesn't work. Listen, the roads go through low spots, and that's where the phone service might be bad. So you might have to plan ahead at the top of the hill before you head down into the gap where the road is, make your call and set up that shuttle. Shuttles cost money, but you're usually not alone at a trailhead. And, pitch in with some other people and get that shuttle, or hitchhike with some people too. A lot of the people picking up hitchhikers, they don't want to pick up a lone hitchhiker either. They also feel uneasy. So hitchhike with people is a good thing. My friends, there are trains. I swear to God, man, you get on a train at Harper's Ferry, you can step off the trail, get on a train, and take it to Washington, D.C. There's a train platform on the Appalachian Trail, like 10 feet off the trail where it crosses the tracks. You could catch the train into New York City. I met people that did both of these things just to take a little holiday. And if you're a hiker that haven't been to those places, you might want to plan in a little side trip to either one of those places. You get to and from Atlanta, Boston, Portland from the trail pretty easily. Also, Burlington, Vermont, really easily. You can get planes from all those places. And you can usually get a bus or shuttle to any of those places as well from the trail. Again, that ATC Through Hike Planner booklet has real specific information on how to do that. You can also just Google it. And listen, man, my son was hiking with me for a little while, and he had to get a plane from Knoxville back home. And I was able to open the phone one day at lunch at the top of a ridge and make an airplane reservation for him. And it was on a Wednesday, so it was really cheap. And so these are all possibilities. Transportation on the Appalachian Trail is pretty easy. Do not be afraid to hitchhike. It's a really great way to meet the locals, find out what's going on. Usually you get picked up by someone that was a through hiker once. The woods is full of them, and so are the towns. What if you need help? Well, you use your phone and you call for help. It almost always works. It'll work when your GPS won't. People, those GPS and sat phones, they got to see the satellites. A lot of times in the trees, they don't. I carried a Garmin InReach Mini, and it was nice because I could send pre-arranged messages home at no charge, even though I was paying quite a bit every month to have the darn service. And the thing cost $350, but it wouldn't work when there was dense tree cover. Guess what the Appalachian Trail is? A green tunnel. And so the darn thing just was not that reliable. And I'm not sure I would carry it again. I'm really not sure I would carry the Garmin InReach Mini or a spot device because the tree cover makes it not that useful. But your phone is very useful. Other hikers, people, if you stop walking, somebody's going to catch up with you. As long as you're walking and everybody's walking in the same direction, you might not see anybody. But if you stop, they're going to catch up. And you can get help that way, all kinds of help. I'm not talking necessarily medical emergency, but all sorts of things. Maybe you are out of water, right? Maybe you're low on food. Maybe you're just freaking out because you're not sure where you are, or you're lonely. Hey, listen, the hiker community is tight. And people that don't seem like that much like you will embrace you in a time of need, and you will do the same. Locals are almost as good uh, as the hiker community. The locals will help you. They'll give you all kinds of directions and advice. They like us because we bring business into town. And a lot of them, that run the hostels and pick up hitchhikers, they were hikers themselves. And so they want to help. Do not be afraid to ask locals for help too. So, okay. Well, anyway, that's it for Appalachian Trail Logistics. And I hope you found it useful. Don't forget to like it and share it and subscribe to this series. I know it ain't great, right? It's not as professional as some of the ones that other people do. I mean, I've seen the stuff that other people put out, and they're real flashy, and I like that myself. I love watching Dixie and watching Bigfoot and Darwin on the trail. I found that really useful. This is not so flashy. The information is fresh, and I can stand by it. So if you find it useful, I'll be sure to let other people know. Okay. Until next time, this is Huckleberry saying, happy trails.